What's the next lead generation tactic that gym owners should add after they run ads successfully? Now, guys, I was on a conversation with a gym owner yesterday. Last month, they spent about $2,000 on their paid ads over the month, the last 30 days, and they're able to get 16 sales. So their cost of acquisition is roughly $120. Now, what that means is they're spending $120 to be able to acquire a customer. Now, within this specific business, what they do is they sell people on a 12-month membership. Okay. And when the people start, they get their first 28 days free. Okay. So, in the exact example, what happens if I started today? Okay, is I would pay for a month. Okay. So, it's $75 a week. And I'd get a month free, and my next payments for the concurrent 11 months, okay, continue to run until the end of that agreement. So look on my phone, if we do 75 times 52 weeks, so each sale to this business is valued at $3,900, which is absolutely incredible. So if you can imagine in here, right, they have spent $2,000 last month and they got 16 sales. So they spent $2,000, and in the contracted amount, right, they are going to get back $62,400. Now, look, not everyone's going to see out their contract and things like that. That's how it happens, but that would be the contracted value. But then if we break down, like, are they doing well initially off their ads? Because, guys, before you think about adding the next lead generation source, you really want to make sure that your current ones are working optimally. Okay, so they spent last month $2,000, and because the people are paying for their second month, say 300, is they were able to get back $4,800. So on the front end, okay, they're getting over 2 to 1, okay, meaning they spend 2,000, they get 4,800 back, and they're getting $62,000 in contracted value for that customer. Now, look, we run a few strategies with them to be able to get people to pay for a year up front with a slight discount at week 3 and also at week 8, which just massively increases their cash collected. They're about to become our next 7-figure gym, but they're not right there at the moment. And we never really count it until they've actually, hit over $84,000 a month for 3 months consecutive, but they are going to get there. And so when this individual was asking me, what should I do next? What should I add on? And they were talking about like Instagram reels, like joint ventures, like all this different stuff. And guys, I love marketing. I love marketing probably a lot more than you, to be fair, right? I love every different type of marketing, every different way to generate leads. But in this specific business, when we broke down their area, on their calculations, or on our calculations of how much we could spend, the maximum they could spend is $500 per day. Okay, so what that means is they could really press their budgets to be spending $15,000 per month. Now, I know that might seem a lot to you guys, but we have many different gyms that we work with spending well over $10,000 a month on their ads, and they do so because they make so much money off the back of it. And so after I let this coaching client talk, talk through a few of their ideas, I was like, look, what do you think is best? Is I just asked them this question, is I'm like, is it okay if I tell you what I would do if I was you? And they're like, yes. I go, look, we need to double your budgets next month, go from 2,000 to 4,000. Okay, because at the moment they're actually making too much money off their ads. To spend 2,000 and get 62,000 back in contract value, the ROI or the ROAS on that in contracted value is actually too big. There's too much room to grow in there. Okay, so what we're going to do is go to $4,000 a month, just double their budgets. And then after that, instead of adding, joint ventures, posting on Instagram, randomly DMing people, like all the other stuff that you can do to market a local business, we're going to go from 2,000 to 4,000 to 6,000 to 8,000 to 10,000 to 12,000 to 14,000, right, in monthly ad spend until they hit their growth goals and until they're at capacity. And sometimes, guys, it's not about adding new things, right? It's not about adding new ways to generate leads because that adds another system, more management, more time from your behalf. Because 99% of gym owners, if you ever get to watch this training or maybe you listen to it, I guarantee you we could 10 or 20x your ad spend and you don't have to do anything else apart from make sure that your systems can hold up of calling your leads, texting your leads, doing the consultations and things like that. So most often for you guys and for this client in particular, it is not about adding new lead generation strategies on. What the key strategy is that we need to implement, guys, is to make sure we get the most out of what we have And I absolutely guarantee you, hand on my heart, that you could 10x your budgets like very, very easily. Don't do that like as of next month, just like double or 1.5x. And then you don't have to worry about adding any new lead generation sources because when you get paid ads working, you get the basic systems that our sales experts teach you to be able to get more referrals. Okay. And then you just have this system that's like constantly rolling. Now, it doesn't mean that you won't add new lead generation sources in time. Of course, you might, but you don't have to until you have absolutely tapped out your ad spend, and you'll be so surprised how much some gyms spend and how much your gym can spend. So before you look elsewhere, make sure that you are getting the most out of your budgets and just know guaranteed you can probably 10x your budgets and you don't have to add any new way to generate leads. You just have one really, really reliable source that gives you 50, 100. Some of our gyms get up to 150 leads every single week, and they're just spending bigger budgets than those gyms who are getting 15 to 20 leads a week with paid ads.